up, everybody? We are here. Welcome back for another episode of the Bible Divided Rightly. I am your host, Anwar Jones, but y'all knew that already. Y'all been rocking with me for a minute, and today we got a banger for you. Okay, but before we dive too deep into it, I just want to let you know that we are going to be announcing our giveaway today, but you got to stay till the end of the video to announce, to hear who the winner of the giveaway is. But today, let's focus on what the topic is for today, because I told y'all we got a banger for you today. The power of submission. Because look, in today's world, where everybody wants everything right now, we have this microwave world. Everybody's right. Everybody wants to be in charge. When you hear the word submit, it's like you done cussed at somebody. It's like you done cussed somebody out. You didn't call their mama something that don't nobody want their mama to be called. Just it's almost like you mean ill will towards them, right? Because the common idea of submission is that we are supposed to be somebody's slave or somebody's maid or somebody's servant, right? And I want to make sure that we get a good biblical understanding of submission. So I brought in some heavy artillery, y'all. This one here is a lawyer. All right. This one here knows the law and the word, right? So I just want to bring on a good friend of mine by the name of Carla. What is up, Carla?
What's up, Wheezy?
What's happening? What's happening?
Chilling.
Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for coming on here with us.
Thank you for having me. It is a pleasure to be on your platform.
Absolutely. I know y'all lawyers, y'all be busy. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all lawyers, y'all be doing stuff. Y'all be handling business. So I catch y'all when I can. I catch y'all when I can.
Listen, you can't be too busy. You can't be too busy. You got to do God's business too. So.
I got you. And look, and
if you do God's business, He'll take care of all your business.
That's right. Well, interestingly enough, we have a topic that I feel you are qualified to speak on. And so I would like you to just talk to us today about submission, and just kind of what that means in its context. So do me a favor and just help us out and just tell us about what submission is for a second.
Okay, so I think you started off, really well talking about how the world sees it. The world sees submission as a cuss word. I'm not trying to be your slave. I'm an independent woman. I'm not about to be your maid, your butler, whatever. That's what the world thinks. Yeah. And of course, the ideas of the world are not going to align with God's word, not going to align with God's intentions or His commandments. So the Bible talks about submission in a number of areas, but we're going to go to 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1, 1 through 6, and I'll read it quickly. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair and of wearing of gold or of putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted in God, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned several times, I am a lawyer. And so part of my job as a lawyer, I dissect rules and words, and I take the facts of whatever I'm working on and apply it to the rule of law.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to take that rule and dissect it word by word. So let's start with the word submit, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
why we're here. We're talking about submission. So let's talk about submit. Let's talk about the definition of submit. I looked up submit in in the Bible dictionary in Strong Concordance, and it gave me a Greek word. The word is hapatasso. It
Mm-hmm.
means to subject oneself and to obey. Now, this usually doesn't happen, but Webster
Hmm.
and Black's law definition are very similar. It says submit is a yielding of oneself to the authority of another. So let's go back to what you said.
Mm-hmm.
The world sees submit and subjection um, as a bad word. Servant, servitude, slave. None of those words are found in this definition.
Mm-hmm.
The root word of submit and subject are the same. It's that Greek hapatasso word, to subject oneself, to obey, to yield to the authority of another. That does not mean to be one's servant.
Mm.
I am let's use the law for an example. I The law has its own authority, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the governing law of the land, and I subject myself to that law, and therefore I am not disobeying the law. I am
Mm-hmm.
not breaking the law, and because I have submitted myself to the law, I am not a criminal.
Yeah.
I still have my own opinion. I still have my own mind. I still have my own will. I can do what I want. But if I choose to do something outside the authority of the law, I have now broken the law, and there are consequences to that.
Yeah.
So, in the definitions that I've given you, like I said, none of those definitions include the word serve, servant, slave, none of those things. None of those things, none of the definition that I give you says, when I say I do, I leave my brain, my opinion, my will at the altar.
Mm.
When I said I do, I don't leave any of those things. I don't leave my personality. I don't leave my character. I don't leave the ability to make my own decisions. I don't leave my independence at the altar. But what I do say is I intentionally choose to love, to respect, to
Mm.
honor my husband in a way that supports him, that helps him, that aids him, where I am a companion made suitable for him.
Mm. So you're not a robot, is what you're saying.
I'm not a robot.
So.
I'm not a slave. So just
Mm.
because you say, I don't know, something crazy, you can't go to church no more. I, why would I do that?
Right.
If you tell me I can't go to church, that means you not following Christ and you not doing what you supposed to be doing, which is now putting me in a conflict between my faith and you acting a fool.
Huh. Okay.
So, as a husband, as a wife, I am supposed to be the companion. I'm supposed to be my husband's helper, help
Yeah.
meet. That's what God said in Genesis when he created Adam. Man is not good for man to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I will create you a help meet. Right? Genesis 2 and 23 and 24.
Yeah.
I'll create you a helpmeet. What does that mean? That means a companion suitable for you.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who is going to help you, somebody who is created to lift you up, to assist you. I'm not your assistant. I assist you,
Yeah.
right? But I have intentionally made that choice when I said I do.
Yeah.
So as a wife, when we get married, we are striving to meet that definition of a helpmeet. Constantly striving. I'm not doing anything to um, hinder that, because that's my ultimate goal. I'm At the end of the day, I was created to be your helpmeet. We are supposed to be one flesh
Mm-hmm.
and one body, and so why would I fight against my own body?
That's good. That's a great point because a lot of people are they're not seeking to become one body. There's still two different bodies just
Right.
living inside the same house versus becoming one body. If you could just 1 second, and I know it's interesting because you're going to come back later on at a later date and kind of talk to us about this too. But if you could just take just a couple of seconds to help us understand what it means to, as a woman, become a part of one body. Like, just break that down for us for a second.
So, um, Genesis chapter 2, verse 23 and 24, it says, "Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave." Cleave means join, unite, adhere closely to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a process. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen overnight. It doesn't happen as soon as you say, I do. You are constantly striving to be that one flesh. And so, in order to continue down that process, you must submit to your other piece of your body,
Mm.
right? Eve was made from the rib of Adam. And so when it says bone of my bone, that it's legit, like
Mm-hmm.
literally bone of my bone. Eve was literally from Adam's bone,
Yeah.
flesh of my flesh. So when it says to cleave, join, unite, you're actually rejoining,
Mm.
reuniting, coming back, because it when God took the bone out, they are now, two individuals,
Yeah.
but as husband and wife, those two pieces of bone are now coming together, reuniting into that one body again.
Mm. Okay. So this actually implies that when she was taken out, she was given her own, she was kind of crafted into her own form, right? And so now we have to combat with these two forms having to come back together and make one unified body again, right?
Right.
Man.
When God made male and female, he made them to have dominion together,
Yeah.
to reign together. Genesis 1:26 says, "Let us make man and let them have dominion." So
Mm-hmm.
God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them.
Yeah.
And so together, God's his original intent was to have man and woman as husband and wife, to rule and together, to
Yeah.
have dominion together.
Yeah.
And so one flesh means together, like together, together.
Mm. That's interesting how it says that because like in Proverbs it says an excellent wife is like the crown of her husband, right? But she who shames him is like rottenness in his bones, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
now we come back to
That
bone of
bone.
my bone, flesh
Yes.
of my flesh, right? And we see that when the wife is fighting, right, with the other part of the body, that there's a rottenness that comes in. That
Right.
there's a nastiness that
Spoiledness.
comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Go
No, 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 no. You
ahead.
good. You good. You good. Submission, I mean, just like you said, submission is an act of unity.
Yeah.
Husband and wife, we're supposed to be one, we're supposed to be together as one, we're supposed to put up a united front. And so to submit to your husband is an act of unity. We're coming together, we're putting up that united front.
Yeah.
I am supporting him in the way that he needs to be supported, um, showing him that honor that he has shown that he deserves. I follow him as he follows Christ.
Yeah. So I got a question for you then.
Okay.
Is it submission to the vision, or is it submission to whatever he says?
What do you mean by the vision?
So when I say the vision, you know how us guys, we come up with these grand plans sometimes, right? We come up with these grand ideas. I'm sure you've experienced a couple of them
Mm-hmm.
where maybe your husband, I don't know if y'all know, but her husband is Elder Lavelle Stepter. Maybe Elder Stepter decides I think I want to go do XYZ, right? And you're like, but babe, XYZ is a little outside of the purview of where we're supposed to be at. How does that process work, right? When the guy has a vision, how's the wife supposed to navigate the vision that this man comes up with from sometimes his imagination?
Well, you have to, I'm going to sound real cliche right now, but it is very important to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sit down and have a conversation, babe. This does not sound like a good idea, and let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you why. And this will not be an argument if, as a wife, you come to your husband in the right spirit, with the right attitude, and with the right tone.
Mm.
We have a tendency to get all wiggly in the neck.
The neck. Oh my goodness, the neck. That neck is dangerous.
And so we can, well, I don't think, and yeah, nah, 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 and get that tone, and immediately the husband feels attacked,
Mm-hmm.
unsupported, and he's going to shut off. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's important to have the conversation, put your opinion out there, but at the end of the day, he's the husband, he's the head of the house. And so after your conversation, and he still is on this plan,
Mm-hmm.
going, only God knows where he's going. And at that point, you put on your intercessor knee pads
Mm-hmm.
and you begin to intercede for wisdom to have her perfect work.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So we're asking the Lord to move because us guys, we get kind of stubborn sometimes. We get a one track mind. Tunnel vision kicks in sometimes. I don't, Lavelle. This probably doesn't happen with Lavelle. I think this is just a me thing. Okay, tunnel vision kicks in sometimes. Lavelle doesn't do any of this. This isn't Lavelle. Tunnel vision kicks in sometimes, and then all of a sudden, it's like she told you, "No, we shouldn't go that route," and you're like, "No. I got this. I got this. Don't worry. I got this." And then when it all falls apart, exactly like she says it would, how do you resist that urge to not say, "I told you so"?
You just don't.
Mm.
It causes more problems to say, I told you so. He knows that you said it.
Mm-hmm.
You just dig it in at this point. He knows you said it. He knows that everything that you said happened.
Yeah.
He knows it. And the thing about men is that they have a lot of pride.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go in the room and say, I told you.
Mm-hmm.
You should have listened. That hurts his pride. That hurts his manliness. And we're not in here to hurt his manliness. We're not in here to hurt his pride. We are here to uplift. And
Mm.
so you check your conversation before you go in. After this plan has failed, before you go in, because you're gonna want to say, I told you.
Yeah.
Didn't I say that? Don't do that.
Mm.
You're gonna cause more problems
Yeah.
if you go in and say, well, I told you this was gonna happen. No,
Mm.
now he knows that he can trust you fully
Mm,
Now he knows that you can hear from the Lord
mm.
and that he can trust your opinion. You're not just out here just talking whatever just to be disagreeing. You are seeking God. Yes, he's seeking God too. And just like all of us, we seek the Lord and we hear one thing when he really said something else.
Yeah.
And we are not always on God's agenda and we're on our own agenda. But at the end of the day, when we see that wasn't for me, we see it and
Yeah.
we don't need anybody else being like I told you.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. That look, y'all, this we might be talking about wives right now, but this is for single ladies as well. This is for anybody who can gain some benefit from it. This will greatly benefit any and everybody, including men, so that we can understand how women kind of think about this topic and what it really should look like. So make sure that you take some time right now to go and share this. Right now, hit the share button so that somebody else can get what they need out of this as well. Do me a favor, go share it, okay? And make sure that somebody else gets the same information. Okay, Carla, you said something very, very key, which was to not, the neck and everything, but the tone, to watch the tone, right? And so I notice sometimes it's difficult to watch tone, not just for women, but for men as well, when emotions are involved.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do we make sure that our emotions are just as submissive as our spirit wants them to be, as the word commands us?
Prayer. I mean, we are a work in progress. We are beings of our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And God made us with emotions. So we're not supposed to be robots,
Yeah.
but we're also not supposed to be controlled by our emotions.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance of emotion and intellect
Mm-hmm.
and spirit, right? There's got to be a balance. And so, you know, if you are constantly, in God's word, seeking Him, striving to be that help me that we're supposed to be,
Yeah.
striving to have that divine order in your house, then God will show you how to keep your emotions in line. Now, there's nothing wrong with expressing your emotions in the right way, right? If I'm mad, I'm gonna tell you I'm mad, and I'm gonna tell you
Mm-hmm.
why I'm mad, and I'm gonna tell you what you did to make me mad.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm mad, I'm not gonna throw something across the room. That's
Mm.
not that's not an acceptable way to express my feelings.
Yeah.
If I need to leave, go to the gym and punch on a punching bag and then come back and have
Mm.
that conversation. Now I've gotten the aggression out and I'm able to have a responsible, reasonable conversation,
Yeah.
right? So we have to learn how to balance our emotion and really seek the Lord um, about our emotion. If we know that that we are very, when we get angry, we act a certain way, then you need to ask the Lord, how do I handle this?
Yeah.
Right? If you are, as a wife, you are a person who needs to talk about the issue right away, right? In order to resolve it right away. But your husband, he when he's angry, he has learned to walk away
Mm-hmm.
first so that he doesn't say anything that he shouldn't, but you're following him.
Hmm.
We need to talk about this now. I need to talk about this now.
No, we
No,
do
you
not.
don't. No, you don't. Because then you really gonna be mad
Yeah.
when he says whatever he's trying not to say because you keep
Mm-hmm.
following him around the house. Shamina
Yeah.
made a good point. Bible says, be angry and sin not. So it's okay to express those emotions, but it is the way that you express them.
Yeah.
It's the way that you express them and knowing yourself and how emotional you are or not emotional because
Yeah.
that's sometimes an issue too. If you're not emotional enough, your wife might be like, well, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you feeling some type of way about this?
Yeah. Are you not committed? Are you not invested? Things of that nature. So
Mm-hmm.
I like to think of emotions as data, right? Like data should inform you, but it should not govern you. So that's kind of like how I like to categorize
Right.
emotions. It's
Mm-hmm.
just data, right? And so when anger floods in, anger is data. And so when I get this data, now it's okay. Let me process this really quick,
Right.
because you don't just spaz out with data, right? You don't just act with data as soon as you get it. You make sure that you process it first.
Right. And you
Okay.
process it in the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes one person will say one thing, and it comes off a certain way when that wasn't their intent at all.
Yeah. So let's do this really quick, because I wanna switch into something else. The Bible says that the woman honor her as the weaker vessel, right? This is the next verses after the ones that we read kind of alludes to this, right? Honor her as the weaker vessel. But I want to make sure that we make something clear. Just because you're submitting, does that necessarily make you less than?
No,
Okay.
no. It actually shows strength.
Uh-huh.
To submit shows strength. It means that you have um, put yourself in, you have chosen to control
Mm-hmm.
your opinions,
Yeah.
right? You have intentionally put yourself in a position where you have to control what comes out of your mouth,
Mm.
and you have to control your actions. A weak vessel cannot do that
Yeah.
because you want to just pop off any kind of way. You want to do what you want. You want to say what you want. But you have to be strong, clothed in strength. As
Yeah.
Proverbs 31 says, you have to
Yeah.
be in order to submit to a husband. You have to be.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're constantly saying what you want to say, doing what you want to do, and not thinking about, is my action honoring my husband?
Yeah.
Has what I said built him up, or did it tear him down?
Mm.
So you have to show strength in determining how to, what to, when to, all of that. That shows, it shows strength, it shows intellect, and it shows that you're in tune with the Holy Ghost that dwells on the inside. Because
Yeah.
he'll tug. Hey, 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 hey. What are you saying? What are you saying? Stop saying that. What
Mm-hmm.
are you doing? You'll get that tug,
Yeah.
but it's up to you to listen to the tug.
Mm. So he gave you a comforter to be a more adequate help during the specific times, not to tear down, not to be a poison, not to rip them apart when you feel like he's agitated you or done something that is frustrating,
Right.
but to at all times build not just what he's building, but what God has given you to build with and around him.
Together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, okay. Help me understand this a little bit more. What is it that I, as a man, can do to help inspire my wife to submit? Because sometimes we as men do stuff that encourage y'all not to submit. So what can I do as a man to inspire my wife to submit?
I think that um, if your wife can see that you are following Christ, if
Mm-hmm.
you are, living a life that is worthy of honor, you talked about that last week.
Yeah.
If you are living a life that is worthy of honor, if you are walking upright before the Lord, um, and taking care of your responsibilities at home, it makes it easier for a wife to submit.
Mm.
If I can trust you because I see that you trust God, it makes my submission easier,
Yeah.
right? If I know that you, are hitting your knees and you're seeking God, and there is a constant relationship, then it is easier for me to trust you. It's
Mm,
easier for me to be like, oh yeah, I can lift him up. I can help him. I can be his help me. I can be his companion, and it makes it easier to strive to fulfill that definition of a help me when I see that you are also striving to fulfill that husbands love your wives
mm.
as Christ loved the church. If I see that you are striving towards that, then it makes it easier for me to follow right in line in that divine order of the house.
Yeah. So, okay, what about when I'm out of position though? Like, I gave a brief version of my testimony last week, but there was a time when during my particular marriage, I was going through a like a fit of depression, right? Where I was out of position, I wasn't working, I wasn't performing my duties as a husband, not spiritually, not financially, not emotionally. I wasn't there because I was so broken by what I was going through just inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is a woman supposed to be there, a wife supposed to be there in that position to support that when that is not even in position?
Well, one, love.
Yeah,
Love covers a multitude of sins, right?
yeah,
But then also, one, I love you enough to see that you're struggling.
yeah,
You have not always been in this position. And so before that, I loved you before that. And just because you're going through something doesn't mean I'm going to stop loving you. I'm going to continue to love you, and I'm going to love you through that.
yeah,
And I'm going to I'm going to um continue to love you through it and submit because my actions are going to pull you out of that.
yeah.
If you look at um First Peter chapter 3, it says um let me find it real quick. That latter clause, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. And so while in this chapter Peter is talking about being married to an unsaved husband, I think this part also applies to your scenario. If my actions, conversation means actions, your
Hmm.
lifestyle, if my lifestyle can be an example of God's grace and his mercy and his love, then that can pull whatever it is that you're going through, that can pull you out of it.
Yeah, yeah. That is excellent. And I love that answer because it shows that even in your submission there, it still shows that God's power will work through your submission, right? Like it that just because he's out of position doesn't mean that it's the end of the road or
Right.
the end of the world.
Right.
Your submission has enough power to reposition him.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
all right. I think I'm catching on. It's making sense to me. It's making sense to me. I'm following. I'm following. See, I should have went to school to be a lawyer too. I'm kidding, y'all. I'm kidding, y'all. There's no way. There's no way. I I think I only would have went to school to be a lawyer to argue with folks. Anyway, so okay, talk to me a little bit more then. Tell me how is my wife supposed to practically, in a sense, what does practical submission look like? Because on any given day, we talk about these concepts, but we talk about them in a very abstract way. But when God wrote the word to us, he actually wrote it to us using concrete words,
Right.
words that you can touch, taste, feel, and see. So tell me in concrete words how how a wife is supposed to submit.
I think it starts with love.
Okay.
Um, your act of submission is an act of love. And now you have to love your husband in the way that he needs to be loved.
Okay.
Right? So y'all have seen the book Five Love Languages.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I suggest everyone read it,
Absolutely.
married or single. You should read it.
Yes.
Um, it talks about the different love languages, and quality time, touch, words of affirmation, gifts, and something else that I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's important to know what your spouse's love language is in order to love them the way that they need to be loved.
Yeah.
Right? So my love language is quality time.
Mm-hmm.
So if Lavelle is buying me all these gifts, thanks for the gifts. But
You ain't saying nothing to me.
right. Thanks. I like the gifts that you got me. I'm not ungrateful, but
Mm-hmm.
this is not how you show me love. I appreciate the gift, but I come spend time with me.
Yeah.
Right? That shows me love. And so I think part of submitting is to show your husband love in a way that he feels loved,
Mm.
not in a way that we think he should feel love,
Yeah.
or not. I'm not gonna show Lavelle love by spending quality time with him because that's not his love language. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
it for me,
Yeah.
right? That so I think you start out with love him, show him you love him in a way that he can feel the love. And also I would say respect.
Yeah.
Respect is huge for
Mm.
men.
Yeah.
Huge for
Yeah.
men. You can say something in complete innocence and they will feel disrespected.
Mm-hmm.
And so showing respect is a way to submit. Um, it's the little things like the way you treat him in front of his friends, the way you
Mm-hmm.
treat him in public, um, a look, a snap of the neck.
Man,
Don't
them
do that.
eyes. Them
Right?
eyes.
And so um you, that respect, showing honor, showing him respect, that reverence, that's how you submit. That's how you show that you're submitting. That's how you show that you're willing to submit.
Yeah.
when you when you respect him in his authority.
Mm.
God has given him the authority to be the head of the household,
Yeah.
saved or not, right? He's the head. And
Yeah.
so you respect him as such, and that respect is an act of submitting.
Yeah. Which, okay, that is key. I really love that, because respect is important, right? And it's actually one of the things that God commands the wife do to the husband is respect him, right? But let's talk about this respect thing for a second, because once again, you read it actually in the verses that we had up here before. In verse number, oh, where is it? 6. It says, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are. Let's discuss that for a second, because she called him Lord after the man lied on her. Okay, the man straight up lied on her. Like, I'm sorry, but my wife ain't calling me Lord after I lie on her. That's not a thing.
Well, he didn't really lie. He
Now
was
you sound like he did.
Well, listen, technically Sarah was his half sister.
that,
And so it's not really a lie, but it was it was a lie by omission. He didn't say
it,
that that's my wife.
I was just about to say, if he was standing in the courtroom right now and he said that wasn't my wife, while on
I'm
technic,
gonna I'm gonna tear him up
exactly
on the
right. That's
stand. That's
that's
it.
what I was about to say. You would tear
I'm gonna
him
tear him up.
to shreds.
But he he said it's my sister.
Uh huh.
And so technically he that is his sister. It was his half sister, but it
Yeah.
was his sister. But I get where you're going. I get where you're
Right.
going.
And the point I'm making here is even after he lied on her and then pimped her out, okay. Look, if y'all don't know, go read it. It's in Genesis, somewhere between
20.
chapters 50. Is it 20?
It's in 20.
It's in 20, but it happened in two places. I think it happened in
Yeah,
20
it
and it
happened in two
happened in
places.
17.
Yeah.
It's either 16 or 17 it happened. She calls him Lord in 18. Okay.
Yes.
And then in 20, it happens again. He does this twice, y'all.
Yeah.
Twice he does this. Now, said this to say when this happens, because obviously there's gonna come times where the husband offends the wife. He, even though he's supposed to honor her and respect her as the weaker vessel, so to speak, that's just to say how he's supposed to handle her, right? As something precious. But when he does not handle you as the precious thing as you are, as the jewel in his crown, when he brings a blemish to you or he brings a chip to you that can possibly damage your beauty, how are you supposed to respond to that? Like what is your response supposed to be?
Well, let's go back a little.
Yeah.
So Sarah called Abraham Lord. Lord back then just meant sir,
Uh-huh.
husband. You know, not really like Lord,
Right. Right.
right? So yeah, it was a term of respect. Um, but I don't think that her saying that, her calling him Lord, is actually the example um, that we want to look at with Sarah.
Okay.
Let's think about all the acts before and after he says, "Here to the king, here, Sarah,
Uh-huh.
to the king," right?
Uh-huh.
So, um, one, Sarah trusted Abraham enough to leave their family and their friends
Yep.
and their whole, all of that. She
Yeah.
trusted him enough to go with him because she trusted God. Because she trusted God and she knew that God was speaking to Abraham, she trusted Abraham.
Yeah.
And so she followed Abraham. And yes, all of these things happened. And yes, Abraham, tried to give her away a couple times. But at the end of the day, one, Sarah was willing.
Uh-huh.
And two, she still trusted God.
Yeah.
And she still knew that God was speaking to Abraham. And so she trusted Abraham. And because of the trust and the faith that she had in God, they call Abraham the father of faith.
Yeah.
Sarah is the mother of faith. She had just as much faith as Abraham because she trusted God and trusted him enough to know that he was talking to Abraham. And so therefore, by default, I'm going to trust Abraham. I know that God has my back, even though my husband just put me up. Here you go.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Sarah knew that God had a plan, right? Sarah
Yeah.
knew that God's going to fix this whole situation and I'm not going to have to lay with the kings.
Hmm.
So, I might
Gotcha.
not like it, but I trust God that he's speaking to Abraham and we're going to get out of this.
Yeah.
So it was more of a trusting God and looking at the whole situation and
Yeah.
not just that one particular scenario, right? So I mean, as husband and wife, there are going to be times where somebody is offended,
Mm-hmm.
but that don't mean I pack up my bags and go.
Yeah.
What it means is I don't like it right now, but I trust God enough to know that he's going to work all of this out. That
Mm.
at the end of the day, this situation is going to come into alignment with what God has already spoken what's already been declared in heaven, it's going to come in, it's going to come together. So whether I'm mad at my husband for offending me for whatever reason, I'm looking past that into what God has spoken, into
Yeah.
what he has said, what he has already started building within the relationship. None It's not going to get torn down.
Yeah.
We're just, kind of at a bypass, a impasse. And if you know anything about an impasse, eventually you'll get through it.
Yeah.
But you just have to work a little harder at
Yeah.
that point. You got to
Yeah.
work a little harder to get past that. And once you get past that, then it's on and you continue to build together.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Interestingly enough, look, to anybody who's still single and is watching this right now, if you don't know how to forgive, you shouldn't get married. That's just
Absolutely.
if you if you're not, or if you haven't made up in your mind that you just don't want to forgive, don't bother getting married, because you're going to be offended at some point or another. Okay, it's just not even a question. So marriage is supposed to be a consistent reminder of God's ability, one of its aspects, of God's ability to reconcile at
Yeah.
all times, right? Like, it's supposed to be that process of reconciliation constantly in practice, right? Like we're supposed to constantly see that, because these are two totally different bodies, remember, becoming one. Y'all came from two totally different families. Y'all came from two totally different backgrounds. Y'all are going to disagree on a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
I mean,
A
countless
lot of
things.
stuff.
It's
Hmm.
countless things, from how the toilet paper is put on the roll in the bathroom. Like, y'all don't understand, but it goes down to the very minute things that you find yourself disagreeing over, and it has no impact on what it is that God has assigned you guys to do,
Right.
but you're being distracted by it. So, in your submission, is that one of those things you found a way to block out some of the distractions that try to come along and make you at some points want to, as the Bible puts it, usurp authority and, and say, you know what, I'm done. This is
Yes.
it.
Yes. My mom taught me a long time ago. She was married for my parents were married for 35 years before my dad passed away.
Yeah,
Um and she told me all the time, pick your battles,
yeah,
right? Some are just not worth the time, the energy, the frustration. It's just not worth it.
yeah,
The toilet paper on the roll the wrong way, who cares? Just turn it around. If you don't like it, just turn it around. It's
yeah.
not worth um it's not worth the energy, it's not worth the argument, it's not worth the pettiness. It's
Mm-hmm.
just not. It's a distraction. Just like you said, it's a distraction. God has called us individually for a ministry, but you also have to know that together you are a ministry. Your marriage is a ministry, and your ministries will complement each other.
Yeah,
And as a couple, you're going forth in the name of the Lord, and individually you are going forth in the name of the Lord. And so
yeah,
don't get distracted by the little things. It's
yeah,
exhausting.
yeah, yeah.
Keep your eye on the prize.
What's that song? Keep your focus on Jesus. I can't sing, but anyway, y'all know the song. Y'all know the song. But I think about this, and it's amazing. You know, our time it has quickly passed. You know what I'm saying?
Quickly,
We
quickly.
we have already approaching 50 minutes so quickly, and it's like there's so much more to cover in this topic. I knew we weren't going to be able to cover it all in one night, but man, like uh there's just so much that we can hit on here.
Oh yeah.
Real quick before we go, I just want you to give them some last thoughts in terms of what they should be focusing on in submission. Speak to the women first and then speak to the men.
Okay, so I think I touched on it before.
Yeah,
Um, really focus for the women, really focus on love and respect,
Yeah.
right? Our purpose as wives is to love and respect our husbands, to be the companion suitable for him.
Yeah.
We were made to suit him, to complement him. And so we have to watch our words, we have to watch our actions, because everything that we do should bring honor to him, should bring honor to our house.
Yeah.
We Nothing that we say should ever tear down his name, and we shouldn't allow others to tear down his name.
Yeah.
And we should always be aware that people are watching. Um, First Peter chapter 3 just shows you that everybody is watching. Everybody is watching the wife.
Yeah.
Everybody is always watching the wife. As with Lavelle being a preacher, we go to different churches and different events where he's speaking, and not even just preaching. He's a public speaker, and we'll go places, and I can see the people not looking at him but watching me.
Yeah.
And so if we had an argument beforehand and I walk in there with an attitude and he's preaching and I'm sitting there with my arms folded,
Yeah.
my face all turned up, they see that. And immediately you have now hindered his ministry
Mm.
because they're watching you.
Mm. Wow.
So everything that we do is supposed to be in honor of him, building him up, helping him, supporting him in the exact way that he needs to be supported.
Yeah.
Right? It's not cooking and cleaning. It's about support and help, and showing him that reverence and respect and that honor that he has been given with the authority that God has given him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Husbands, don't take advantage of the authority that God has given you.
Yeah.
Yes, you're the head. Yep, you are. That don't mean you can do whatever it is that you want to do and treat your wife however you feel like you want to treat her.
Mm.
She is due respect.
Yep.
Just as you are owed respect, she is owed respect. And so respect her as the weaker vessel. Hold her, love her as Christ loved the church. Cover her, right? Us as wives, we're supposed to cover our husbands in prayer. We're supposed to be interceding for him. But at the same time, our husbands are supposed to be covering us in prayer, covering us in love, covering us in honor, covering us in respect. When your actions show that you love me and respect me and protect me, I can trust you.
Mm.
That's it. That's all I got.
Wow. 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 That was a mouthful. Um, like if y'all weren't taking notes, that was something to take notes on. Right there, you can take that and literally go apply it right now, today, to respect and go forth from there. Wait a minute. Are husbands required to honor as well in the case of wife having a preaching engagement scenario? Carla?
Absolutely. That absolutely.
Oh man, that was quick. that, that was good. That was bow right in the kisser, right? One word answer. Do me.
There's no question. There's no question. Of course.
Yeah.
The idea that one, only the husband can go out and preach and have engagements and all of that, it's a misogynistic idea,
Yeah.
right? We all have ministries. um, some of us have been called to preach man or woman. We all have our ministries, um, but just as the wife is to honor and support her husband as a minister, um, the husband is should also honor and support the wife as a preacher, as a minister.
Yeah.
um, when we get married, we don't lose our ministries. Sometimes they change. The focus of them
Yeah.
changes. It has to, because as a wife being a wife is a ministry,
Yeah.
but you still have to do what God has called you to do.
Yeah.
And before you get married, there has to be an understanding. This is my calling. This is what the Lord has called me to do. And if that husband
Hmm.
is not on the same page, then there might need to be some going back into the prayer closet to find
Yeah.
out if this is the one. Um, I believe, and I come from a family of a ton of female ministers.
Yeah.
The husband is always supportive of that ministry. The
Mm-hmm.
ministry does not change just because you get married.
Yeah.
In most cases, I'll say that in most
Hmm.
cases, you're still called, but the way that you minister may change some. You may not travel as much as you used to, or whatever the case may be, but at the same time, you still have that calling,
Yeah.
right? You're still called to preach, to teach, to be an intercessor, to be a prophet, to be an apostle. All of those things, that's your calling. And if he cannot support that, then there's some other issues that need to be addressed.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So let's actually deal with this question that's on the screen now. What happens if later? Because this is a great question, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you know for a fact, okay, this is the one, right? This is the person I'm supposed to be with, and I'm going forward in unifying myself to this person. And it was cool when I was preaching, right? It was cool before when I was going preaching all over the place. But later down the line, I'm asked to choose my ministry now versus my new ministry as his wife. Well, you as his wife. What then happens in that scenario? How am I supposed to, as a woman, navigate that?
So I think that this is a conversation that has to be had before you get married,
Yeah.
right? So um, if you are preaching and traveling before you get married, he knows that this is your ministry. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is a conversation that you need to have before you say
Yeah.
I do. These are, when me and Vel counsel couples who have not yet said I do, we
Mm-hmm.
talk about communication and talking about everything. Everything.
Yeah.
This is something that needs to be discussed beforehand. And if I mean, it's not going to change if you're preaching today.
Hmm.
He knows that you're preaching today,
Yep.
and so you need to have that conversation now. If he's like, oh, it's fine, yeah, I'm okay,
Mm-hmm.
and now all of a sudden you want me to choose, so did you lie then?
Hmm. Hmm.
I
Man.
so now we have a different problem,
Yeah.
right? You lied to me. You said it was okay, but it wasn't okay. Now you're uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and so this you de listen, before you have to have this conversation before.
Yep.
And I believe that if there is an issue, the Lord's going to show you that there's an issue before you get married.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to address this question that's on here. But before we do, I want to actually pull something up real quick. And I just want to make a very quick comment about it, and then we're going to move. So Proverbs 31 talks about a this woman, right, who is a jewel. She is described as the virtuous woman, right?
Yeah.
And there's all these things that it talks about her doing.
Mm-hmm.
She's spinning clothes. She's handling business,
Oh yeah.
okay? Like through and through, she's handling business. One of the things I needed to be understood is all of that work is not uh housework. Okay. All of that work that's happening is not housework. A lot of that work is work that's done out in the world,
Outside.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she's going out and handling business. And one of the things that in this same book, it says in this same chapter, it says that, why is it not pulling it up? Let me, because I didn't add it to the stream. It says her husband is known in the gates, right? Like all of these things that she's doing is actually giving him honor. Okay. Husbands, don't fight with your wife over the ministry God has over her life. You should be encouraging it because it actually makes you look good as well. Like it's one of those things that you get, I don't want to say props from, but her going out and serving in that capacity is not something you should be discouraging by any shape, form, or fashion because it builds you up in everything that you're doing as well. So,
Absolutely.
said all that to say, let's get to the next question really quickly. Do you think there needs to be a time off from ministry to work on now new ministry for a season to adapt and grow?
Yes.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So it's one thing to date for a certain amount of time and you get to know the person while you're dating. But once you get married, it's a that's a totally different beast.
Yeah.
And now you are living with a person and seeing them in all their glory. This is not like, let me get all dressed up and we're going to go out. Nope. You see me from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, especially now in quarantine,
Yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah.
24 hours. You are, just because you get married does not mean that you know everything about this person. You should know a lot. You
Yeah.
should know a ton before you say I do.
Yeah.
But once you get married, you know, get to know everything about this person. Me and Val have been married for 12 years this year, and we are still learning different little things about each other,
Yeah.
right? You are constantly learning about the other. In the beginning of the marriage, it's a huge adjustment. And so if you are, you know, traveling and out, whether it's ministry or for work or whatever, um, it's hard to do that and adjust to this new situation that you're in.
Yeah.
It's hard if you're not around to learn your new spouse.
Yeah.
You're not around. You're basically still dating with a ring on.
Mm. Wow. Wow. And this is why it's so important to know and understand your purpose before you get to the altar. To know what God has called you to before you get to the altar. Cuz if God calls me to some international ministry, right, where I'm going and I'm preaching in India and Australia and China and some places where the Christian doctrine and the Christian belief is being persecuted, and you're like, nah, fam, I ain't about that life.
Yeah, your life could be in danger.
Yeah, like if you're sitting here saying, nah, bro, that ain't me, then abort mission. Like, why are you still doing this to yourself?
Right. No.
I don't understand. Like, you still have to make sure that do what makes sense. And as things go forward, and as you realize, okay, this is a call that I'm willing to walk in and carry with this person, now we can move forward.
That's
But
right.
if their call is something that you're just like, no, I'm not doing that, then already you should be saying no.
You out.
Tap
That's
out
it.
now.
Now
Like
you're
it's
done.
done. If you don't understand that, like, hey, I'm marrying somebody who's got a pastoral call in their life, but I don't want to sacrifice my husband to a pastoral call because that means I have to share him with people.
And I don't even like people.
I don't even like people. I don't feel like dealing with people. I don't want to be a first lady. I don't want all that attention on me. I don't want the lights, the glitz, the glamour. I don't want my husband's phone ringing at all times of the night from people telling him their kid is in jail, they need money, all these different things. They need prayer, they need a hospital visit, whatever the case may be. I don't want to share my husband with somebody like that, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like that. Then you need to abort mission. Like, this person that you said you want to marry is not the one. Okay.
Because
okay, talk to me.
Unless your opinion is now contrary to what God has said.
Yeah.
So your husband has been called to be a pastor, and you're like, I'm not trying to be no first lady. I don't want to share my husband. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I'm all of those things, but the Lord has already said, and you're like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear it. But the Lord is already saying, and He's already, put you in situations to develop that part of your ministry.
Yep.
Well, now you're out of order.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. I just want to make it clear. If
some of these conversations, you have to have beforehand, right?
Yeah.
You have to have these conversations beforehand. But sometimes these things come up in the middle of marriage.
Yeah.
Right? So, you marry a minister and he's been called to preach. And y'all been married for 5 years. And now the Lord has called him to be a missionary. And he's traveling. And you're like, why are you always going somewhere? Why this and why that? And I'm not trying to this and I'm not trying to that. But really, if you be quiet and listen, God called you to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So now you're out of order.
Yeah.
Right? So while our ministries evolve, and a lot of times they evolve to complement each other, and they evolve to so that you minister together. Sometimes that happens in the marriage. And when that starts to happen, it's important to sit down and be like, hey, we need to talk about this. I think this is happening. It's one thing to have that conversation beforehand. And if the other is not falling into line or not in full agreement with what the Lord has already spoken to you, or you have this ministry and the Lord is telling you it's time to evolve this ministry because you're about to get married. Because there are some people who are not married yet, who are still single right now, because part of their ministry has to be fulfilled before they get married.
Yeah.
Right? So they're currently in ministry doing one thing, and they have to fulfill that one thing before they get married. And once they get married, that ministry will evolve into something else.
Yeah.
And that ministry will go into marriage. And so it's important to understand where your ministry is going or could possibly go. And you have to be in tune to the Holy Spirit to know where to go, when to go, how to go, when you're dealing with ministry and marriage. Right? So sometimes your two ministries are going to come together. Yeah. Sometimes your ministry, his ministry are going to evolve into something else.
Yeah.
You have to be in tune. You have to really hear the voice of the Lord and just be obedient.
Which is wow, because so that makes me think of excuse me, and for real, y'all, after this, because we talking right now. So this makes me think of Elizabeth and Zechariah, right? They both got the same name from the Lord.
Right. Different
but
ways.
they got it different ways, right? They had totally different conversations with the Lord that were separate from one another, but they still got the same result because the
Mm-hmm.
Lord gave both of them the word, right?
Right.
So all of us inside of this relationship, this covenant that we've entered into, have to be sensitive to hear, because things are going to change. And sometimes, while we might not be comfortable with the change, I have to be able to move in the word. Because, as Carla said, when I'm sitting here in my feelings and the Lord has spoken, well, now I'm out of order.
Yep.
And now we got some issues. But wow, no, that is key. That really is key, man. Carla came and dropped some nuggets on everybody today. That I see. I should have known. I should have known a lawyer was gonna come through and just pow. Okay, all right, all right, all
Listen,
right, all
my law degree didn't help me.
right.
It's
Sorry, I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Oh.
It looks like a router issue, so try restarting it. Unplug the router, wait 10 seconds, then plug it back in.
She got an attitude. She got a whole attitude.
Alexa wanted to get in on this conversation.
Alexa wanted to be heard. She was like, "Hey, it's my turn." No, but this was phenomenal tonight, y'all. Please make sure that we share this, because there was some stuff in here that I believe will greatly benefit everybody. Because there were some things here that truly will help someone that is in need, someone that's sitting there saying, man, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. I don't understand. There's some people that are married that are trying to figure out their roles still. And there are some people that are so excited. They want to get married. They want to experience marriage and don't have the first idea of what they're getting themselves into. This, while not a comprehensive, informative thing, will at least give them some insight into some of the things they can look for and start to make some decisions about and start to pray about. Because one thing is for certain, I know I need to pray more than what I already pray in order to inspire my wife into submission. Not to say that my wife is not submissive in things, but just to say that I need to do more on my end in order to allow her to say, oh yeah, I'm going to honor this, right?
And us as women, we have to make sure that we have the right heart posture to want to submit. Because if our hearts are not in the right place, there's no way we can be able to submit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to make sure, let's get this shared out. Let's make sure this gets in front of somebody. Beyond that, look, we got to announce our winner of the giveaway. So drum roll, please. Javon Myers is the winner of our giveaway. I don't know if they're here.
Siobhan.
I haven't seen them comment on today's video. I haven't seen them in the comment section. If you're here, please make a comment. Let me know you're here. Otherwise, I'll be messaging you have you let me know which one you want, the concordance or the dictionary. Let me know what's up, and we will make sure to get that to you ASAP. Once again, Javon Myers is our winner of the giveaway of our Bible resource that we did. Congratulations for Javon Myers. Give it up in the comment section for Javon. Make sure we shout them out so that they can get their resources, because I want to make sure that they get that. Other than that, look, we have had an amazing time tonight. Carla, thank you for your time. This right here.
It was a pleasure.
Right here. I got to do the Lavelle hand for this. This right here. Crazy, right? This was amazing. I really appreciate you coming. I really appreciate you providing your insight and your wisdom that you have gained from your time in marriage, right? And even from just your time being saved, you came and you gave us this information. I truly appreciate that. If this information was a blessing to you, if you found this useful, beneficial, if you were like, man, this helped me, we have a cash app that you can give to $apply Jesus. It is from these resources that we are able to do things like the giveaway we just did. It is from these resources that we're able to continue to build and give you better quality. So if you feel so led to sow into this ministry, we would appreciate it, and we will make sure that they are put to good use. We thank you kindly. If there's anybody here that's watching right now who is not saved or is struggling with the idea of being saved, or you're hurting inside, look, right now is a time to commit. Look, we are losing people left and right. People are leaving this world of all positions and statures. People are leaving this world. And I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to know the Lord. This is the time for you to know him and receive pardon for your sins. This is not the time to sleep on what the Lord is offering you. Make sure that you get into a relationship with him and that you know him for the Savior that he is, because he is a Savior, he is a keeper, he is a deliverer. He can save you from whatever it is that you're in right now. He already did the work to do it. His blood was already shed in order for you to receive the healing that you need, in order for you to receive the deliverance that you need. If that's you, if you're like, man, I need to commit, then right now, type in the comment section, I commit. And somebody from our Apply Jesus team will reach out to you and connect you with where you need to be at in order for you to receive the plan of salvation. Beyond that, I love y'all. We are going to be back next week. Next week, we're going to be back, and we're going to be talking to the fellas next week again, and we're going to be telling them how to love your wife. I got somebody good to come back and talk about that. He's got plenty of experience in doing it. He'll be specifically coming back and talking about here's how to love your wife. He's going to give us practical steps in how to do it, much like what Carla did today in how to submit. Once again, Carla, we tell you thank you, we salute you, and to everybody else who is here and watching, we say deuces, and we will see y'all next week.